natter, it's going to actually go live. Like now, it's gone live. There we go. Hello, everybody. Hope we're all doing okay. Welcome to the stream. Now, you might have expected Joe. Yes, what's the head shaking for? Is it because it's been a while since you've been welcomed into the chaos of the way that I do streams? Because you tend to be prepared and you got an intro and all this kind of stuff, and I just kind of natter until everything shows us live and online, and it kind of works out for the most part.
I watch your videos every day, and it's testing. Oh, look, we're live. Someone says something like, "Don't press live. Just wait till you're ready to go."
No, but that's the thing. The way that I do it, right? I do the testy bit, and then I'm watching on my second monitor for it to flick to waiting to live.
Yeah.
Because at that moment, I'm like, okay, cool, I know it's all gone through. And at that point, I start saying things. But that means that in the recorded version, there's like 2 or 3 seconds of just waiting around, eventually.
My dog just went down the stairs in about 4 steps. Sorry.
Okay, it looks like you've just seen a wasp and got terrified. Anyway.
I thought she's fallen down the stairs by the noise she made, but she's not. She just jumps the steps. She's mad.
You see, I've got a 3/4 dash and 1/4 chihuahua, which means that when he goes down the steps, it's clunk, 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 clunk. It takes its time, but you know what? He does his best. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream, which, as I'm sure a lot of you will know, I had planned for this to be one of the flight watchy streams that everyone seems to like, because it's just a case of everyone hops on board and we talk about absolutely nothing for about an hour and a half, and then eventually we go, oh, look, the planes come in. Occasionally someone might be under the flight path and send me a picture of it on Twitter. That was always quite nice. Thank you, whoever did that at the time. But the flight has been rescheduled for tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning being a time when I'm not sure if I will be particularly awake, because I've got a baby and she's very fighty, and she was up from 2 until 4 this morning, and it was chaos. But
you never mentioned that. You know?
No, not once. No, but look, sometimes people are like, "Oh my god, I hadn't heard that," and then sometimes people are like, "Yeah, you've said that a little bit much." And it's like, yeah, tough. I'm going to keep saying it because I'm proud of her. She's great. Anyway, yes, there are 2 of us. You're going to have to deal with that one. It's absolutely terrifying. But how are you doing, Joe? Welcome to the asylum from your normal safe place of, oh, I write my videos and there's a script and I edit them really good and all this kind of
stuff. I don't have a script.
No, but you got notes.
I've got bullet points.
Right. There have been times where I've asked you a question about like a transfer deal that happened 2 weeks ago or something along those lines, and you'll go, hang on,
my notes.
flick.
By the way, right, here's my teleprompter. For those who keep saying I've got a teleprompter.
You do have a camera that spins, though. That's good. I like that. That's nice. By comparison, for levels of professionalism, this is 2 videos worth of notes for me. And yeah, it got a little bit crumpled.
50 it is. You've seen my stack of notepads.
I have seen your stack of notebooks. There's a lot of notebooks. It's
how I commit things to memory. I write it down, then I read it, then I have it there. If I forget anything, here's my track. I can always go back to my notes.
You see, I'm similar to that, but I just know that somewhere in this office there's going to be the sheet of paper that has the information that I want, so I'll find it that way. That's why I use like refill pads as opposed to notebooks, because I can just go right, take that out. Let's see what happens now. Hello, they're all boxed up. The flight tomorrow is completely forgotten in my head. It was in the morning. 10. It might have been arriving at about 10, I think.
Arriving at 10.
Arriving at 10, so it'd be like an 8 until 10 flight, which is I don't know if I've got that in me. I'm sorry, chaps, but we have had, I'm assuming, a couple of little bits and bobs of news. I heard something James Trafford flavoured earlier on today that I will probably ask Joe what's gone on, because I will be honest, I've been busy for the majority of the day, but I don't know what's going on. So Joe, Fernie wants to know if we're in for James Trafford. Have we heard anything? I've heard not much.
Well, if you haven't watched my news video, you better go and watch it afterwards, because you know that's not fair. All there is apparently Man City are open to a sale. They brought in Pierce Charles from Sheffield Wednesday, who's Shay Charles' brother, and Northern Irish international as well. I believe it's on loan. I could be wrong, but I think it's a loan. But either way, it's a backup goalkeeper. and apparently that leaves James Trafford open to a permanent exit from the club this summer. There was a lot of talk Leeds would be interested in a loan move for him. He would cost anything between 30 and 40 million pounds, so he's a big chunk of change. And the net spend stuff, by the way, I said it in the news this morning, and I've been Steve Carlisle, who's very good and gives me SCR advice, has been on to me to say, actually, not how it works. Talk about it. So Steve's going to come on my channel and talk about SCR and how it actually works, because Leeds money can actually, despite the fact they spent money, their budget could go up because of getting rid of Stroke, which is I don't know. It's mad how it works, but Steve's going to give us.
I'm assuming it's amortization flavored things. I don't know.
Kind of.
Right, okay.
If it's 5 years, it's 1/5 of that fee, where Stroke was big fee, 1/3 of whatever.
Oh yeah. I get that bit. That's the one bit around SCR stuff that I sort of half understand, the way that effectively you've got 4 or 5 times any fee that you get in because of the way that you can structure contracts.
That's over 1 year, not a 3-year basis as well. So it's year by year. But those amortization payments add up every single year. So you don't want to keep amortizing fees, because otherwise you end up paying a ton of money next year and your budget next year goes down as a result of that. So yeah, you've got to be careful about how much you amortize and what ones you do and what you pay up front. But anyway, yeah, so apparently open to a move. Man City are open to a sale. Leeds want him. Nothing will happen until at least after England's World Cup. He's likely to take a holiday as well for a couple of weeks, because obviously most players were off for over a month. He hasn't stopped training since the season started, at the World Cup started. So we're likely to take a break. That doesn't mean Leeds can't negotiate a transfer fee or personal terms with his agencies. They can do all that kind of stuff in the meantime. But if they were to make a move for him, it does feel like a very end of the window kind of move.
Yeah. I've just had a quick look, by the way, when it comes to the flight being rescheduled. Absolutely not. I'm not going to do that stream. It would have to start at 6:15 in the morning and would go for an hour and 45 minutes. I have not got that in me. I'm sorry, gang, but
he's getting about 9 o'clock then UK time. If he's coming from
8:02 specifically. Yeah, for some reason I had 10 in my head, but I knew that there was an 8, and I knew it was about 2 hours of flight, so I just sort of assumed it was sort of.
We might get a 6 o'clock, or Leeds like a 7 o'clock announcement, so we might get a 6-7 o'clock Leeds United in a Leeds shirt. You never know.
Yeah, maybe. He's got the entire day to do things, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
You better be awake. I had twin girls with colics. So man up. I refuse. I will not be manning up, because that sounds like a lot of effort, you know. Thank you very much, all boxed up. Big up to both of you great channels. On the subject of big up, Joe, have you got some shilling to do, or are you not fancying a bit of a shill right now?
I don't want to do the stream tonight on bigup.com, so I'm not doing a watch along tonight. And I wasn't sure if you'd be. Yeah, exactly. So, and when you get knocked out tonight, then it'll be Argentina, Spain. The final, we can both do that. I have to actually get my Argentina shirt in.
When did Ireland get knocked out?
When you took all our players.
In the same way that Dan James is Welsh.
Same way Declan Rice is English.
Paul Graves watched your video earlier, which is quite nice. Hey up, John. This is a weird one, because we've been having a little bit of a conversation on my channel recently where someone called it a it wasn't a half final, they called it a demi-final. So now some people are asking if it's a hemi-final, a demi-final, a semi-final, or a half-final.
Would you not have to change the total mechanics to do that? Would you not then need to change the quarterfinal to whatever that is, and the round of 32 to whatever that would be?
I don't think so, because they're all words for half.
A quarter is 4 sides of a 1. Semi, kind of 2 sides of a 1.
But hemisphere, 2 sides of a sphere.
I know that, but it's a different term. Okay.
Yeah. It's got to be semi-final though. Like I'm not getting into this conversation again, because it's
semi, not semi. Semi, not semi.
Yeah, we're not having that yank nonsense around these parts.
Semi-final.
Apart from when it's Brendan Aronson that does it, because as we all know, I'm a little bit overly defensive of Brendan Aronson, and I will be forever.
You're like the patron saint of lost causes. You are.
Yeah, except occasionally those lost causes don't turn out to be lost causes. Sometimes they turn out to be great. So if I just keep sticking with it, eventually. Look, I said sometimes. I didn't say every time. And I will have you know, clearly he has turned out to be great, because he's playing in the Champions League next season. Are we?
Is he?
No.
Is he though, or is he just going on lots of trips to different countries?
He is getting named into a Champions League squad next season.
Yeah,
I don't understand how that's happened. I want to
that's
know
mad. Arsenal fans are pissed.
I want to know
They're not
which scout at Arsenal looked at that and went, "This guy, this is the guy that we need to be our backup goalkeeper."
Wasn't he very good against us 6 years ago? Yeah, sign him. He's free.
That'll know. Yeah, he was pretty good and could kick a little bit. And in all of the time since, he's just lost all of the ability that he had in that FA Cup match. But Arsenal clearly haven't paid any attention to it. So you know what? I'll take it as a sale. It's fine. Hasn't Pierce Charles gone straight out on loan to QPR? I think
he has. Out. Yeah, fact that is that. I wasn't sure if he came in on loan or if he was going out on loan. Well, that's that then. Yeah,
it's fine.
So maybe not.
It's still no. It's fine. It's fine. We'll just pretend.
Trafford does want football though, and he won't sit on the bench next season, so he'll go somewhere.
Yeah, it feels like at the very least he's going to make a move somewhere. The reason, and I'd like to get your opinion on this one because I don't know if it's a take that a lot of people share, but it's one that is pretty much stuck in my head. That I wouldn't want James Trafford on loan because if you get James Trafford on loan, we have this entire same conversation this time next year, where you just have to go, well, we've not got any number ones again. And you start over again and you go, well, can we loan Trafford
Unless
again?
On with an obligation.
Yeah, but in that case,
it's kicking a fee down the road a year.
Yeah. In that case, it's effectively it'd be like when we got Jack Harrison on loan for the last time again, where it's not actually a loan; it's just a sort of we'll pay the fee a little bit later, and that's fine, and it'll all work out and all that kind of stuff.
That is true.
Yeah. Now, Joe and Joe, what a treat! The amusement of the testy thing on a day when we've signed Muharimovic and are favoured to sign Trafford. Look, the testy words testy thing is an important part of my process. Okay, it is an absolute necessity, apparently. Because if I don't do it, then it's like... Did you have any weird sort of things that you had to do before a football match? And if you didn't do it, you didn't feel right and the match just wouldn't go well in the slightest? It's sort of like that. Did you have any of those little traditions, habits, vibe kind of things that you did? Back in ye olde days when football boots were made of rocks and...
How old do you think I am?
I don't know. Old enough.
I'm 45. I'm not dead.
I had someone at 7 Aside this week try and guess my age, and he said 20. And I was like...
My wife thought you were a teenager.
Nice. Your wife thought I was a teenager. Did she think that you were adopting me? Is that what she thought was going on with?
Why not? I don't know. Maybe. Didn't ask that. I didn't ask any follow-ups. Didn't know there was a need for it. That was a statement rather than a question. He's a teenager.
That's the point. Chat. If you don't know my age, take a guess and we'll see what people actually think of the rough sort of estimate, because I'm kind of curious.
Right. I know how old you are. Right, so you're asking me, did I have any...
Yeah, you have any sort of pre-match ritual things, anything? Because that's why I do the testy wordsy thing, because I've always done it, and if I don't do it, then it feels a little bit wrong.
I'm not a superstitious person, but when I played football, I had superstitions in football. Like I scored a hat-trick in it with my sock inside out in one game, so I wore it inside out for the rest of the season. Didn't score hat-tricks in every other game after that, but had a good season. I used to try and do visualizations, so I used to try and sit in the dressing room before kick-off, and I'd go through runs and stuff in my head of where I wanted to be in situations, and then I would... I'm not massively religious. I do believe in something, but I don't know what it is. So I used to have a few words with different people, and then I'd have a football in my hand, and I would turn the name on the ball towards me. I'd sit there, I'd look at it, and I'd focus in my head, clear my head, and then I'd go out on the pitch. And ideally, within the first 5 minutes, lump somebody up in the air, because that got me angry then, and I was always a better player when I was. And I was pretty chilled out. And
you got angry by lumping someone else. Sure, that feels like a recipe to make them angry rather than.
Which then, by proxy, makes me angry, because they will say something. I'll go, "Who are you talking to?" And then, but it worked.
Yeah, but at that point, they just say, "I'm talking to the twat that just kicked me for no apparent reason."
Not a ball was there. I had a manager once said to me, walking out of a dressing room, "Do I have to slap you in the face before every single game to make you angry?" Because I was better when I was angry. If I was chilled, I would just walk around. But I was a mouthy footballer anyway. Pretty aggressive.
No. Short, that doesn't sound like you.
Oh, I was aggressive footballer though. I was aggressive.
I know. I tried a back heel once, and it's like, Joe, let me try one thing.
I'm pretty sure I took your head off for that.
Yeah, a little bit, and I was kind of like,
Poor
Joe,
Danny,
look.
I tried to murder Danny Mountain in a tackle. Poor Danny. And then went to pick him up, and he put his hand up and walked away. I just left him sitting on the ground. Get up. And then got booed by the entire John Charles stand. Career highlight that is.
It was a good day. A day that was an absolute pain to organise. So it was probably a day that will not be repeated at any point in the immediate term. But it was a good day. I'll have to remember the quote from Joe. I'm 45. I'm not dead.
My hip's about 70, but God knows what my brain is. But the rest of me's 45. On Trafford, by the way, 11 to 10. 10 to 11 on or whatever it is.
I did see that he'd popped into some odds and we were all of a sudden the favourites to sign
odds
him.
On, yeah.
It feels like either someone's lumped a hell of a lot of money on that for vibes reasons, or someone's lumped a hell of a lot of money on that because they know something.
Well, we'll find out, won't we?
Yeah, which is an interesting one to find out. If you don't do the testy thing, you get introduced to the innate hostility of inanimate objects. What? I'm struggling to find my way around that sentence. Which inanimate objects are innately hostile?
I'm reading the chat ahead of you. Yank Nonsense, the halftime show, right? I have a solution to this.
Airstrike.
No, well, I mean, we can put past them. So we talked last year about goalkeeper timeouts and about off sugar for 4 weeks last week. The goalkeeper timeout. Remember, all the players would go over to the sideline, and we said just go over and stand in the middle of them. And then Ethan Ampadu did it in the FA Cup semi-final. 15 minutes of a half-time break. They're not off the park. Both teams walk out and start the game. Just push them out of the way.
That's a good shout. And then at some point, Justin Bieber's going to have the ball kicked in his general direction. Someone gets to just kick through both of his knees.
Justin Bieber.
Absolutely wonderful.
I mean, there's an opportunity you're never going to get again. Go through him.
It's not a chance you get all the time. Admittedly, two-footing Shakira might be a little bit more of a problem. It's not going to be the best move for PR, but you know what? It gets the job done.
She's now officially played at more World Cups than her ex-husband, Gerald Piqué.
I thought that was very, very funny.
What a flex. What a flex to have in a divorce. You know, I've been at more World Cups than you have.
One of my favourite things about Shakira is the way that she's like football's Michael Bublé. The way that she goes away in a box and just gets shut away for 4 years, and then occasionally FIFA will open the door and go, "It's World Cup time," and she's like, "Johnny, I'm free. I'm out of the basement. Waka waka," and just comes out and sings whatever the newest song's gonna be for that World Cup.
I blame her for vuvuzelas. She's responsible for that.
I don't know if she's directly responsible for that.
No, she is. She's getting the blame. Someone has to be culpable. She is.
And you're specifically picking Shakira.
Yeah.
I mean, Sepp Blatter was there at the time. We could already we can add more blame to Sepp Blatter. Just saying.
More blame. Can we blame Infantino even though he wasn't involved? That's the
yeah. We'll blame Infantino for the vuvuzela, despite the fact that he didn't have his job at that point. I can
people love her Bieber kickings, by the way. I mean, then you can just after you kick him on the ground, you can stand over him and say, "Is it too late to say sorry?" and walk off. Hey.
I can't think of any more Justin Bieber songs. I can't think of who else is doing the half-time show. I know someone from Coldplay's directing it, which I think is a little bit of a weird one. But yeah,
there's a cow farm in Ireland where they drink Baileys.
Yes.
So the milk from Baileys that goes into making Baileys comes from this particular farm. They're called the Baileys cows that are there. My wife, as an event manager for the country, brings people around Ireland, companies around Ireland, and she brings them to see the Bailey's cows. And an interesting fact about the Bailey's cows is they get tested for stress twice a day. And if they're stressed, they don't milk them. They play Coldplay until they're not stressed.
That would not de-stress me. I think
Coldplay is vanilla. It's vanilla music. I used to use it in training sessions. If you walked into my classroom, I would have Coldplay playing on the background because no one cares either way. It's just background elevator music.
Hopefully the song's going to be red and white rather than yellow this weekend because the Spanish flags. Right, okay, fine.
I'm really looking forward to an Argentina-Spain final. I can't wait.
Really? Wow.
Yep.
Fuck off.
What a game. I do have an Argentina jersey though. And I will be wearing it tonight.
They're not getting there. Like, let's be clear about that. No, they're not getting there.
Right, parking all the bullshit, right? Can I be a bitter Irishman for 1 second, right?
For 1 second? Can you be?
Right. If you lot don't win it this time, you're never winning in it, ever.
You can let us off with Spain on the form
they're on. To win at this right now. It is. That Spanish team have had one really good game. Outside of that, they've looked really average in this tournament, right? I'm sorry, France were rubbish, right? And France have been phenomenal in this tournament. That wasn't the same France. And if England do not win this World Cup against an aging Argentina side that should have gone out in the last round, only for Egypt to absolutely bottled it, then you'll never win in the World Cup. Because you should win tonight comfortably, and then you should beat Spain.
Press 1 in the chat if you're not going to take this from someone who can't even get to the World Cup in the first place. I'm going to keep doing that because I can for now. Trafford shouldn't need a break. He only played 40 games, but he's still doing all the training, and the training is a hell of a lot of the stuff.
Every single day. Yeah. He hasn't had any holiday, any time with his family. In fact, he's been away from his family. Has no downtime at all. He has literally finished a season in the Premier League and gone straight to World Cup camp and trained solidly every day since that. So, these lads, someone said that about Aronson as well. Why is Brendan coming back late and barely plays? Like, because he hasn't had any time off in, I don't know, 12 months.
Yeah. And especially when people say that about goalkeepers, the whole goalkeepers union part of me rises up again and goes, hang on, because when you're training as a goalkeeper, all you are doing is throwing yourself onto various joints and making yourself bruised and battered. So to say that he's not done anything, he's done everything but stand around for 90 minutes. So that's the sort of gist with that. Also this, if you haven't, pop a like on the stream. I keep forgetting to ask, but that's because I'm trying to get back into this sort of vibe of doing streams and stuff, which comes around every summer because I remembered to. And Matty says, I expect a pilot Blackburn, but I'm even happy seeing this combo instead. How are you doing? I'm doing all right. How are you doing, Joe? Still especially warm? Because every time I've talked to you recently, you've been like, it's melting. I can't breathe.
It's pretty warm, yeah. Can we address Elland Road Insider 18's comment? I've been waiting on it.
Where are we? I'm trying to find it. Hold on. We can.
Let's be clear. Okay, let's fact check some information in this. I never said it was done. I put J. Charles done on a thumbnail because that's a heading. In what I said in the video, I said we believed it was done in terms of actually agreeing a fee because we were told by 3 separate different people, one of whom has been right about other things in the past that we didn't put out because I don't put things out there because I don't believe people. So this time around I went, well, he's confirmed it and he's confirmed it. Fine. We'll put it out there. It's still not necessarily untrue. And what we were told, and I'll tell you exactly what we were told, was that they spoke over the weekend. There was a fee agreed. There was a structure of a deal to be discussed still. You saw yesterday with Graham Smith and with Baron Cross that even information that they got from the club that Leeds had not put a bid in for Mihajlovic, that they were only admiring him, and that ended up being false information from the club as well. So we'll have to wait and see. Every bit of information that I've gotten on Shay Charles is people are very confident that this one is either done, which is what I said in the video, or close to being done. And if it's wrong, and if I'm wrong and I put the information out, I won't do it again. In 3.5 years, I have never, ever said anything like this. The first time we've done it. because the first time I've got information. And if people want to say you're a YouTuber, how do you know? Look at the people we've interviewed on the channel in the last 3.5 years, and I've been in contact with all of them since then.
And
Sometimes
in
you hear
addition
things,
to that,
sometimes it's wrong. And I spoke to an agent earlier this year about a transfer from a player, and I didn't put that out. And I should have.
kind of curious now. But in addition to that, I simultaneously also had that story from someone that is completely separate to Joe, that Joe would have no idea of how to even have a conversation with because of the way that I know them. In addition to that, I believe Matty had similar information from another completely unique source, and he put out his own thing about it. So there were about 18 different sources from various different directions, all saying Shay Charles is effectively done. So I think we have a little bit more patience rather than go, on Monday you said it was done and now it's Wednesday evening. Yeah, sometimes things take a little bit of time to finalise, and it's not that much of
Saturday,
a rush.
Romano said Leeds were going after Mihajlovic. Mihajlovic. That was done yesterday. Trying to find this. Got confirmation. It's on the money. And then it says... Get you the exact terms here. 1 second. I'll tell you what I was actually told. I won't tell you who told me. I'll tell you exactly what I was told. Where is it? Sorry, I'll take the actual thing. I don't say it. J. Charles is either close or very close to being done, expected to be done soon.
Yeah, which is... sorry, just before continuing this conversation, I love that some people have just taken the easy way out of Mihajlovic and just gone, Tarek?
It's two spellings. There's two spellings in that as well. Like, people are spelling it with an EK, and then there's people spelling it with an IK. But if you look on SofaScore, he doesn't show up with an EK, he only shows up with an IK.
I've never seen it with the EK. But okay, I'll have to have a little bit more of a sniffer. We'll see the way that Leeds do it on their team sheets, and we'll just assume that that's the right way to go about it.
Danny's asking, have I been told by somebody reliable that it's done? As reliable as they can be, yeah. It's somebody in the game. And this time last year, I was told no Okafor was done. And I said it on Joe Wayman's show. I didn't put it on my own channel. 2 days later, it was done.
Yeah.
Basically, at some point, I decided I keep getting told these things. At some point, I'll throw one out.
Yeah. I think what a lot of people don't seem to grab is that journalists are having conversations with other people. Information doesn't just come out of the ether to them. They're not sort of like sitting there in incense fumes going, Mihajlovic. Someone's had a conversation with them, which means that they then proceed to convey that information. The same people that have conversations with them can have conversations with us, which means that information can come out in multiple ways, and a lot of people will continue to go, yeah, but it's not been said by Graham Smith, Baron Cross, etc., etc., etc.
If you look, and sometimes they're set up, right? Sometimes it's an agent who's telling you stuff, right? And that happens to journalists as well. We don't have the connections that journalists have, unfortunately. But if you've got, like, my channel gets about 650,000 views a month during transfer windows. That's a lot of reach. So if they want to get a story out there, they'll reach out to you. And again, I don't always put them out there because more often than not, I'm like, it's just you saying that. I haven't seen it anywhere else. And in this situation, it was a case of, had one person told me this, I would have gone, good to know. But that's as far as I would have gone with it. And then when a second person who I do trust in the game said, been told the exact same thing. And then I heard it from a third one saying, expect it to be done. You're like, well, that's three.
Yeah, it's one of those where if you hear it from one person, you sort of go, okay, that's going in the memory bank. And if I hear more stuff about that, then that conversation can continue to happen. But until that point, I'll just leave it. When it starts to get corroborated by either multiple people directly going to you or people going to other people in the space, but you're like, okay, clearly that's a different source, it all starts to add up a little bit.
So I'm laughing at Red Bull.
It's that one, isn't it? Yeah, that's what you.
Would you like me to do a storytelling intro every morning? I can do that just for you if you want.
No, that's for the channel members. That's behind the paywall.
I've said for years, I've never had a problem being wrong on something. You know, I think it's worse if you're wrong on something and then you try and double down on it. That's worse. I think if I'm wrong, I'll say, look, I got the info. The information's wrong. I won't trust that person again the next time they send me information. You know, we'll see where we go. But you know, at some point you're doing this, you're going to go, well, everyone's saying this, and it looks very, very, and all the information seems to lean towards it. All the noise is very positive. The big part of this for me was when I got all that information, you're then looking at it going, why aren't Baron Cross and Graham Smith shooting this down? Because me and Andrea Russo had a conversation about Mandela Keita the other day on Twitter. Now, Graham Smith doesn't follow me or Andrea. But Graham Smith came into that conversation and said there's nothing in it.
Mm-hmm.
So, fine, there was nothing in it. And it's, which is unusual. But he came in and that there's nothing in that. No one slapped down what I said about Shay Charles. Nobody. Now, they might not know. They might know and they've been asked to wait. It could be false. But right now, there's the silence on Shay Charles locally is interesting. The only person that said anything on it is Ben Jacobs, who said there was no other information. Now, already that Saints Extra come out to say Leeds went back in at the weekend with another offer, and we're waiting to hear back on that. So Ben Jacobs' message saying there was no update on it is now false because Ben came out with that on Monday and Saints Extra said Leeds with him with an offer at the weekend. So there was a change. So just because someone like Ben says, I haven't heard of any change in this, then that's just Ben Jacobs that hasn't heard. That doesn't mean there's not something actually going on. So until I see a Graham Smith or a Baron Cross say there's no truth in this and it's dead in the water, and they may very well say that, and if they do, cool. I will say, look, got that wrong, won't be doing that again. The next time this person or these people contact me with a story, my answer is going to be, can't trust the source, I'll leave it alone, and I'll stay out of it. Yeah. But I'm not a journalist, so I just, go off goal.
You're not a journalist, you're just a storyteller, which, if anything, is just...
storyteller.
There we go.
Agara.
I've completely lost what I was going to say there. It's like when you mentioned with when you put out a story and you get it wrong, the best thing to do is sort of front up to it and go, look, this is what I'm doing to adjust that. Yeah. Looking at last year, I have nightmares around the Simicast thing because I was told by someone that was incredibly reliable to me in the past. Yeah.
I didn't believe it because of the price tags. And that's why I didn't talk about it, because I looked at the price tags and went, that's ridiculous. 50 million quid for Caoimhín Kelleher and Simicast. That's nuts. And neither went for anything remotely close to that. But at the same time, we had the same conversation. It seemed very credible.
Yeah. So I was like, sod it, I'll dip my toe in the water. But afterwards, at least I was in a position of honestly, thought the guy was fairly consistent in the past. Turns out it didn't work out. This is what's changing moving forward. Which
has shown since then, even into this summer, to still not be very credible.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm talking about a person from work as opposed to person that you're talking about. Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about, but yeah.
Yeah.
But that was, again, one of the reasons that I went with that was I had the same information from someone that I worked with, which was sort of like, you are someone that is fairly close to football clubs because I work in broadcasting. So in theory, all added up. But these things happen.
The Charles is no better than Brendan, wasting money. They play in two very different positions. They're not the same profile of player. Brendan's a 10 or inside 10 attacker. Charles is a central defensive midfielder, can also do box to box, but is primarily a central defensive midfielder. So Charles, I think, if he was to come in, is coming in as an Ilya Gruev replacement because Gruev's got 1 year left on his contract, and Leeds probably want to upgrade that position because Daniel Farke, at times against certain sides, wants two holding players. So that's the comparison, not Brendan and Charles. It's Gruev and Charles is the comparison.
And you got to remember that Charles is also 22, I think. He might have... there was someone that we were after that had a birthday fairly soon. I don't know if it was Shay Charles, so I don't know if he's switching over from 22 to 23. But he is still very young and has a hell of a lot of potential to him. So I think
Graham Smith watches him in Northern Ireland and he said he's an excellent... And I talked to some friends of mine who are from the North and they've said the same thing. He's never lets them down. He's consistent and he's getting better every year. So, and Leeds are trying to lower that profile. So again, you take the facts, and not the facts, the parameters into consideration. Leeds are trying to lower their age profile. Leeds are looking for dynamic players who can play more than one position. He's probably... I I understand why Daniel Farke uses Ilya Groove. I appreciate what he can do for Leeds, but it is definitely a position you can upgrade. I think John Longstaff is also a player you can upgrade as well. I think he's very good, and I'm hoping he gets a full crack at the season this year for Leeds. But it is a player, if you're looking at your squad and going, where can you improve this squad? You're looking at certain players that going, that's when we can definitely. Not to say they're not good already, but improve.
Yeah, there's clearly spots in the squad where you're like, okay, you are a piece that we can just replace with relative ease because you didn't get many minutes last season. So someone along the lines of a Piru is a case of, right, Piru, in the nicest way possible, you were very good to us for 2 seasons in the Championship, but did absolutely nothing in the Premier League. You out, someone in. Someone that actually has a fairly well-defined role in the Premier League at the very least, because Piru, we don't know what he is right now.
If you want to go from here to here, you're not just adding tons of new players to your side. You're replacing the ones you've already got with better versions of them in those positions to move you further up. And Daniel Farke wants to go back to a 4-3-3. We know he will because that's been his football philosophy for his whole career. Or his 4-2-3-1, which is the variation of the 4-3-3. He'll want better, and he can play that in the Premier League if he has better players that are suited to playing that. He didn't have that last year, so he had to change it. So where's that? Muhramovic. I was doing this earlier on. I had it nailed down. Hang on.
Muhramovic.
Tariq. Tariq Muhramovic. Has having his medical tomorrow.
Yes. The flight, we believe, will get into Leeds Bradford at like 8-ish in the morning. So this would have been the flight stream where we're just following it across Italy, presumably. Well, Italy, then France. Then we always have a quick sort of jaunt via Hull because it tends to follow a fairly coastal path. But not to be the case because the flight has shifted back about 14 hours-ish, but enough hours so that...
Cody Gakpo.
No! Not again.
I'm joking.
Imagine that though. If it was a case of we're getting Muhramovic, okay, we didn't get Muhramovic, and it just sort of follows that Gakpo Dieng Nonto thing again, where it's like we're getting a left centre back. Okay, we're getting not that one, but we're getting a different left centre back. Okay, we're not getting a left centre back. We're getting a right back. But trust us, in 2 or 3 years, it'll be really good.
It'd be really good, yeah. Adam for sure. We have had one transfer over 3 Premier League summer windows where there has been an airplane on the tarmac that nobody got on. So, we're consistent.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tradition at this point. If we didn't do that, then I'd be a little bit disappointed in us because you gotta keep the club's character alive, Where's he flying from? Olbia, maybe, is the place that I had in mind. But that's what I've been sort of pointed in the general direction of. So that's my stab in the dark. Olbia, which I believe is in Sardinia, but I'm not 1,000% certain. Charles Ampadu and Stack doesn't sound progressive. Worried that anti-football works and wins games. I don't think it'll be those 3 at the same time.
If it is, there's a reason that could work. That is progressive. So Wilson, Okafor, DCL, Bogle, Goodmunson, right? Those grouping of players, right? If you stack in behind them, if you got that midfield, you can let all of them go and attack. And then you've got that cover there. Stack likely in front of them as a deep line 10 to kind of cover and shield that off, or advance 6. And then Ampadu and Charles in behind them, again, covering your fullback areas and covering your centre-backs. So if you play 2 central defensive midfielders, chances are you're going to let both your fullbacks commit and go forward, and they'll cover that space when they come back. So it can be progressive depending on how you want them to play.
Just to cover this one off, that would be because he was with the Bosnian national team and won't be with his club yet in the first place, so he's very likely on holiday, is what I've been informed. So he won't be at Sassuolo yet because let him have a little bit of a rest, He was at the World Cup. He got himself sent off at one point. He got Balogun sent off at one point, I believe.
So that was his fault.
Yeah, that's what we'll go with. We have accidentally signed the most deeply problematic footballer on the planet that has driven a hell of a lot of controversy. But you know what? That's half the fun of it. Are there any other stories or bits or bobs that we haven't yet gotten to?
We signed a stack of young lads to contracts, and I'm very excited about Jacob Howard signing 3-year deal, which is very interesting because all of the other players have signed 2 or 1-year deals. And Jake Howard signed a 3-year deal. I think Archie was the last one to sign a 3-year deal at that age. Jake's a very exciting centre back. Ian Hart's his agent. I've spoken to Ian a couple of times about Jake. And captain England under 17s this year, scored for England under 17s this year, as captain of Leeds under 18s, was an ever present in the under 21 side last year, despite the fact that he's just 17 years of age. The photograph I saw of him signing his contract versus the kid I stopped playing last year, in a space of 6 months, he has grown. So he's an exciting one to keep an eye on. There's a couple there as well. Sam Alker signing his deal as well. He was being looked at by lots of clubs in the Premier League, or Premier League 2 clubs and Category 1 academies. So Sam Alker's a really good one to get nailed down as well. Freddie Lane signed a deal today. Freddie's a really good midfielder as well. There's interesting ones signed, some very, very promising ones there that have got plenty of time. So, yeah, good ones.
You're just listing my youth side on Football Manager when I was playing it over the last year, and it's like, oh, I know all of these names. I like Sam Alker. He's fantastic. Or at least he was fantastic until he got poached, at which point I decided I don't like him anymore. Sorry,
he's
Sam.
he's not a big lad, Sam. He's quite small, but he's very skillful, very good on the ball, very good ball retention. Yeah. Is a good player. I do like him.
This is a very, very good point. And I'm ashamed I didn't get to it.
Isaac Schmidt could be off, according to Berner Zeitung. They say that young boys, I really made a mess of that yesterday. Of all the things I made a mess of this week, that was the one I made a mess of, because I went Schmidt closing in on young boys. And then somebody said, Eric, do you see how that looks? And I went, well, I can see the tone you've assigned to it. Yeah.
To be fair, it's better than Isaac Schmidt's going to play with young boys.
Well, there is that as well, yeah. It's just, our young boys approached Schmidt. It's either way, it's not a great one. Not a great
Schmidt
one.
Closing in on move for young boys.
And we're still waiting to find out what happens with Lucas Perry and Torino.
Yeah, I think the Lucas Perry one is one that will wait until we've sorted out a goalkeeper, which makes sense. I wouldn't mind seeing him go, because I do feel a little bit bad for him after that first season. I wouldn't mind him staying either, but it's just a case of whatever he's happy with, to be honest.
I would say this about goalkeepers, but I think there's more to come from Lucas Perry, but I just don't think his style of football is what Daniel Farke will use, because he wants a ball playing centre back, and that isn't really Lucas Perry's bag.
Yeah. So it's probably going to be a case of find someone else, and then
might be a second choice. It'd be very easy to see a second choice come in before first choice to get the pre-season away. Like, you could get your covering goalkeeper in now, and then if you're waiting on Trafford till near the end of the window, then
that's true. But again, not necessarily Trafford either. There's also 1,000 other names floating around. Suzuki, another one. But the Suzuki thing was very weird, because we've been linked with him for a good while at like 30 million euros, and then there was a piece that came out that Newcastle want him for 17. And it's like, 17. Who the hell have Newcastle been talking to? Maybe this is why they don't get any of their targets. Maybe that's why Manzambi didn't go there. Maybe it's a case of, well, no, obviously we're not going to sell to you. You paid 15.
On that one, on Manzambi, Romano got caught on that one, because Romano had a here we go Manzambi to Switzerland, not to Switzerland, to Newcastle.
Manzambi to Switzerland from Newcastle.
And then Aston Villa come in and do it. So he was told done and dusted. So it can happen. It's a weird summer.
Yeah, I think the World Cup makes it a little bit more interesting, because it's a situation where you've got so many players that aren't going to move yet, because they're like, well, no, I'm paying attention to my national team first, and then we'll just sort of say, what have you spotted? Go on.
Don't put it on the screen.
No, go on. Was it the monstrously tall babies?
No.
I don't know what you've found. Oh, there we go.
You didn't get us, because we didn't put it on the screen and we didn't answer it.
Oh, dear.
Out of an effort, though. I don't tend to read the comments before I put them on the screen, so I would absolutely have got caught by that.
You see, that's contrary to what I'd normally do. I would pull it up, and then I would try and think of something that talks my way out of it, as opposed to, like, either ignoring it or giving an actual answer, because there's a nice middle ground, where you just sort of invent something and that does the job. What about Areola from West Ham? I think we will probably not be signing a nipple. I don't know. He feels a
we're ready
bit
for that.
championshipy. He's not great, but yeah. Shoalish would look at Lucas Hornacek, who he previously been linked with, and would cost less than Trafford. Obviously, top flight European football in Portugal at Braga. I'm not in it for it to be on screen. For the love of the game, pure passion play.
Great,
Is that passion play why we're talking about? Never mind. When does the jet arrive? Tomorrow morning, very early in the morning, which is why we're probably not.
Did you
going
not
to be
change
doing
the name of the stream? No.
Oh, I did.
Okay.
Wait, unless it's changed back. I hope it's not changed back. That'd be a problem. No, I've renamed it to Busy Days, discussing Leeds transfers with @the Leeds View.
Is there anything else worth chatting about? I mean, there's loads of players linked. I did throw in Omar Saleh as a curve ball because he getting told someone else is replicating my videos. So I just went, there you go.
Just chuck it out there and hope that whoever picks up.
There is going to be a point in the next couple of weeks where I'm going to put a story in somewhere that's not true at all.
I have been telling you to do this for quite some time. In fact, tell me who it is, and then I will add fuel to the fire, and I want to see if it gets followed along.
I want it to just be there because they will then replicate it.
But I want to mess with the. Can you at least tell me?
No.
Please.
No.
Oh, well, that's no fun.
Yeah, Leeds are not signing Omar Saleh because they've just signed a left centre back for 30-odd million quid. They're not signing a second left centre back for 30-odd million quid.
That's true. Unless he's significantly cheaper than that, in which case that might happen. I don't know.
Yeah.
But who knows? Has the Julian Brandt link come and gone? I've not seen anything linking us with him for quite some time. So
hang on, there is an update on that saving. Oh, my other notes. I've parked it for conversations tomorrow. Time later on to digest it. I'll tell you now. Julian Brandt.
You want something to chat about? What about Farker not having signed an extension yet? He's not at the World Cup. He's not at the World Cup, yeah, but it might be a case of the club are just waiting a little bit to see if things start working.
Or he might be waiting to see if the ambition is matched in the window.
That's a good point.
A year left on his deal. Marcelo Bielsa only signed 1-year contracts. So,
and that suits what he said towards the end of last season as well.
It would do,
because at the end of last season, he was sort of like, I just want to have evidence from the club that they are happy to push in the same way that I'm happy to push. So that makes a little bit of sense to me.
Leeds is still over soon, blah, blah, blah. According to blah, 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 while respective Russians aren't reporting the black and yellows leading independent news. Premier League isn't on Julian Brandt's wish list.
Well, that's Julian Brandt gone.
Italy or Spain. His missus has a place in Spain, I believe, and his agent is Italian, so
that makes it seem relatively unlikely.
Yeah.
How about we ask for Trafford on a season-long loan with an obligation to buy next year?
Very sure.
It'd make more sense than just a loan, but just a loan is what spooks me a little bit because the amount of people that are just like, let's just get Trafford for a year and see what happens. No, because next year we just have the same conversation again and again and again. And that's not stability. But anyway, I'm going to bring the stream to a close roughly there-ish. Anything further to add or to just sort of promote or just vibe? I don't know. Any deep words of wisdom?
Not that deep.
No. Not even someone about 60 feet underground going, help, I'm stuck in a cave, cave, cave. Those are some fairly deep words.
Shouldn't have got yourself in that position.
Yeah.
Bad life choice.
It's not always your fault that you fall into a well, you know? Did I say well or cave?
Cave.
Yeah. It's not always your fault you fall into a cave. I don't know why I was picturing a well when I meant cave, but okay. Anyway, I'm going to leave that stream there because it's gradually gone off the rails, but that's considering it was meant to be a flight stream, it being on rails is a problem in the first place. So I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please pop a like on the stream. It's always massively appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't yet. I know at the start of the stream I was very close to 7,800 subscribers. I don't know if that's ticked over quite yet. It has. Fantastic. Thank you. Don't unsubscribe to make the numbers even. That would be a bad thing. Instead, we're going to keep going forward and hopefully get to 8,000. But yeah, hope you all enjoyed, and we will see you later. Toodaloo.
Vamos Argentina.
No, not Vamos Argentina. Unvamos. What's the opposite of a vamos? Halt, Argentina. Anyway, leaving that there.
It is.
Right.
Bye.
Ah, dear.